My name is Lerato Libita. Welcome to my channel, The Prestige Play, where we discuss and debunk all things wealth management, family offices, succession planning, structuring, and investments, and all topics of interest. You ready? Let's get into it. Good morning. Today we are joined by Anne Klein from Lucia de Klein Private Office. We are now officially on The Prestige Play with Ms. Lerato Libita, and I am your host, Lerato Libita. Morning, Anne.
Good morning, Lerato.
Thank you for making the time to come and have a chat with me.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. As always, it's great to see you.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed being part of the International Family Office Summit. So today I'd like for us to debunk it, discuss it, and just unpack the whole vision, mission, and if you were happy with the success of it. I know as people that attended and also people that spoke there, we were very happy to be participants of your big idea.
Thank you so much, Lerato. And firstly, congratulations with your new venture. I wish you all the best, and I know you'll make a great success of it, and I know it's quite a change. Coming back to the summit, what we decided to do was to have a focus on international family offices and to, be known for that within our own borders, so within our own country, but always with the international element of family offices. The reason being, as soon as you start delving into family office topics, it's never, there's always complexity, and not only complexity in terms of just with what you're busy playing with, you use the word play, but also because of the nature of the families, the businesses, and even the complexities in terms of the advice. And there's a definite need to have open and free discussions about how family offices, will look like into the future. And with the switch over to wealth in the hands of women, we decided to have a very solid focus on women in family offices.
I like that because I know that as much as it was the International Family Office Summit, the focus was female fit officers. Now, we are not taking away from the males that are in this space, but we did also want to address that females are also fit to be running these offices as well. Would you like to debunk that further?
Absolutely. So my love for giving people opportunities has always been with me since the start of my career. But what I came to realize is sometimes if we don't have a supreme focus on certain topics, we might be left behind or we might forget about certain topics. And I'm the first one to say, I love to work with everyone. I love to integrate things. Things are not always black and white or separate, but we should integrate discussions. And I think we managed to achieve that over the 2.5 days that we were in Constantia in the Cape at the lovely venue, the forum, which, was an incredible venue to discuss family wealth in such a beautiful setting.
So now the beautiful thing about the summit, as much as I was participating in it, was also because the vision behind it was for us to do, I think it was one of the first on South African sand.
Absolutely, according to my knowledge as well. And we had a lot of international interest, a lot of family offices and people within the family office space wanted to travel to the venue. Some managed to travel, and others said to us, please keep it going because I might be at the next summit. And, it was a very challenging summit to arrange due to the fact that, like you said, it was the first one. We had people watching us in terms of, should they invest their time, should they invest their money, should they actually travel there and, spend 2.5 days out of busy lives, having a discussion with people that they don't actually know and to see if it will take their lives to the next level.
The discussions that were had were very pertinent, especially within the realm of family offices. We also spoke about the different roles we all played within the family office space. I know that even Karen Botha was talking about dispute resolution. I came in with wealth management through investments for family offices. And Jamil was there on the private equity exposure side. So it was very interesting how you put different aspects together, but for one vision. So what was the vision, the mission behind the whole summit altogether when you were putting it together?
Well, whatever we do, we always say everything is central to the family. So we say family first. And now people might ask me, how do I define family and why do I say family first? It's difficult to define family. It sounds like a very easy topic, but in a way, whoever attended, doesn't matter your capacity, we all have a form of a family. And just, having that realization that even if you're there and you're part of, for example, advising family officers on certain matters, your own family also matters, and the way you put your family first will take your clients to the next level. Because I've got a firm belief that if advisors, for example, forget about their own planning, it actually could trigger that they leave other stuff behind as well. So in a way, the way I see it is that we all need to apply our own minds, visions, and missions within what we do to be able to do that for the families that we serve.
I think you're right in saying it resonates from us and how we handle our own families in order for it to trickle out to how you would handle other families. The one thing that did come up was that not every family deserves a private family office. And that to me stood out the most because especially in the South African landscape, there are a lot of ultra high net worth families, but not everyone needs a dedicated family office. You touched on family charters and family governance. Can we just unpack that a little bit as well? Because that is another way of structuring it in the right direction without having a dedicated family office.
Absolutely. So the way I see it is all families need a form of governance, however you define it. And the beauty about it is the more we empower each other through conversations, the more we can build on what we know. So you know a lot about certain topics. I know something about something else. And with us having these discussions, we're opening up pathways and doorways for a deeper dive into where can we go next. But unfortunately, if you have no plan at all, even if it's not the best plan, if you have no plan at all, your family will be floating. In the ultra high net worth space, people are extremely busy. They're still building wealth. Their focus areas are maybe different. They may be second generation. So I think we need to reflect on where are we, what is it that we want to do, and see what it is that we need. But if you don't even have knowledge of a certain topic, it makes the conversations with your own clients very challenging. And from my experience and from what I've seen, if you sitting in a client conversation or meeting, or you with other ultra high net worth or family office advisors, if you unaware of topics like family charters or constitutions, suddenly it seems as if you haven't stayed, if like you're being left behind. And it's quite embarrassing for families when they have advisors and their own advisors don't tell them about certain things and they need to read about it somewhere else. So you need to always be open-minded in terms of learning. We had some topics that were completely different. I mean, if you think about how we started the summit, we had an open stage discussion, and why we decided to do that, and that was a first. I've never seen that happening before. Was because each one of us have a story, and sometimes the best people to speak are actually in the audience. So with all due respect to the presenters, but you were such an incredible host, because what it gave us all was, it gave us different perspective of the people who actually came to the summit, not realizing that they might be sitting in the chairs that we're sitting in now.
That was an interesting way to open up the summit, because yes, I did open up the floor to everyone, but I also picked people out of the crowd. We also needed to understand who's in the room, what their different skills are, and what they were trying to gain out of the summit. And the interesting thing is, as much as we all came there for different things, we found synergies of working together. And it also links up to how your platform as Lucia de Klein Family Private Office is now creating a network of people working together. Please tell us about your platform and the importance of it.
Thank you very much. We're now saying we are the Family Office link. And the reason why we're saying that, coming back to your point, within our own country, the family office industry is still small and it's growing. It's not a new industry, but trying to commercialize it would be wrong. However, having said that, there are very good solutions out there for clients. Not all families, like I said, need a single family office, but all families need to be somewhere where they start planning for something, be that being part of a multi-family office, or a virtual family office, or just starting to look at an embedded structure. Audrey, for example, spoke about that quite a bit. We spoke about all the different options out there, but our platform basically enhances those discussions. It gives people access to conversations that I was fortunate enough to get access to as a young professional many years ago, because the family office industry is a closed industry for a reason. And, you want to keep it exclusive, but you also want to you also need to realize that wealth is changing hands. Wealth will be changing hands, and with the changes, there's different demands. And the younger generation, or even, for example, the females in the family, might feel different about the advisor that someone else chose for them. But the beauty about the family office industry and the way we're designing our platform is that we say, you know what, you select who you want to work with, see how they fit in. I always say to clients as well, you don't need to keep me forever. I can come in, we can look at your structures, and we can move out, because it's your wealth, it's your family. And similar to you in your situation, you know what your mission is for your own family, you know your own situation, and you need to build solutions
for you and your family.
Yes. So that's what the platform is basically assisting everyone within the family office ecosystem to feel that they have a place to go to, and to question. They can question us. I've been questioned like quite a bit, to say, what is it that you're building? Why are you building it like this? But it's really to say, wealth is there, wealth will be there. The solutions needs to be there. We need to empower the younger generation. That's why we created other solutions for people wanting to get into the family office space, but they maybe only get there by default. We're now trying to assist people to get there through a choice and not by default situation, which actually helps the families as well, because then we're generating better solutions for families. And instead of waiting, say, 20 years to start to know about a family charter, a young professional can easily dive into the topic, speak to professionals, and get the right teams in to assist their own families, for example, or just the industry in general.
I'm glad you're touching on the different programs that you are now instilling within your Lucia de Klein Private Office. I know even at the summit, we touched upon the internship program that you've now established. Initially, when we started, I think you had only had 2-3 people. Where are we with that program right now?
Yeah, we've allocated a lot of slots. Okay. So because each intern gets a number, so we've allocated a few slots, and we're keeping it until people are ready to start. So we've activated the program. We have basically 2 really active participants. But because it's very driven by conversations and, it takes a bit of time, but there's a lot of interest in it. A lot, if I say a lot, within the family office space. I mean, it's not thousands, but people are interested in it, and they're interested in it because we customize it. For example, one of the people who is participating, she wants to specifically focus on recording family stories. So what we're doing with her, for example, we are finding everyone who can assist her on that journey to be able to reach her full potential for whatever reason she wants to use it, be that for her own family or be that for any other family that she wants to participate in, for example.
I'm going to throw a curveball in our conversation. The other thing that we spoke about while at the summit was the importance of technology within the family office space. We also discussed where AI fits into everything else. I'm all about AI and the evolution of technology. Yeah. I'm very technologically dependent, but I also believe that technology can't replace the actual human touch. Can we just talk about technology within the family office space and AI and how you see it?
Absolutely. So I'm also like you. I'm a lover of technology, always been. I'm not always that good with technology, but I see the value in technology. I also see the impact that it has on, just in terms of reporting, record keeping. If you have access to a good system, you can make decisions much faster, because suddenly, instead of having to run around finding information, you have the information right there. So if there's a quick discussion that needs to happen, you can have a look at the system, see what's there, and actually then move forward. I think the reality is, if you are still in manual systems and you're not changing in terms of what's out there, you are losing time, and time
being left behind.
You're being left behind, and you're placing yourself at risk, in the sense that if you don't have proper systems, you're very dependent on certain individuals, whereas systems actually support the individuals, instead of having to rely on what someone knows. At least if something is recorded somewhere, it's out there. It's accessible and people can ask the right questions. But if you're unaware, especially in the family office environment, families need to know where their assets are. Don't lose an asset because someone forgot to place it on record somewhere or whatever. I mean, just a very basic example, but we need to keep track of what it is that we're looking after, and we need to make sure that it's somewhere. In terms of AI, also not an expert, very fascinated by the topic, and we've had several discussions on that. I think just from a security point of view, a privacy point of view, and confidentiality, and I think we all just have to be very mindful how we use systems, why we use it, and train everyone involved within the framework to say, why are these things important? It's not because we want to be controlling or we want to be challenging or difficult. There's a real reason behind why we do things in a certain way. And I think the future will always belong to the ones who are willing to do things in a way that's slightly different from the general population.
So all in all, the summit, I thought it was a success. I believe, like all the other people that attended it, that it should be an annual thing. I know you said you were very split about it. But let's look at this. The International Family Office Summit, a female-fit officers transition role of family officers. These 2.5 days had pertinent discussions. I think it was a success. And Damien and his closing stood out the most, and we were all wowed about it. Do you think this will be an annual thing now?
I'm hoping that we can make it an annual event. I've been told, and also I would like to take this opportunity. I know people always thank the sponsors, but in this case, a week before the actual summit, I still wanted to cancel it, just because of the complexities of, of organizing it, and so many friends and people and business partners came in and said, no, let's do this. And so I need to just say thank you to all the participants, all the sponsors. We always thank people, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of work that goes into these events. I think we had something like 24 presenters. At the end, almost everybody who were there actually ended up being on stage. But the reality is we've built very deep networks. So now if you need tax advice in whatever country, you can phone a friend, have a discussion that's not going to be out there on social media, for example, and you'll be able to say, well, you know what, it was worth my time, it was worth the effort. For the next one, we actually in a way decided we'll continue, but for the next one, I would love to see delegations from other countries coming in. So instead of us being, we had international people flying in, but instead of us having like a global get together, I would like to see family offices from different parts of the world coming together, and for us to almost compare notes with them, because I firmly believe we can get families to better destinations if we all work together globally, and we can, trust and have, like you say, we had some very open and frank discussions, and if you're a little bit sensitive, it might have upset you. But I think because everybody came from a position of a pure heart, wanting to make a difference, they bought into the concept. Someone like Damien, for example, he's one, that I also need to mention. Like you said, he's someone who came through to me through on a invitation request. And I started speaking to him, and since then, he is quite eager to learn more. He's a true next gen, and I think the power of what we did is we had people in the room from all walks of ages, if I want to. There's no better way of saying it, but different ages, different backgrounds, different skills. But in a way, and we had some very good panel discussions. Kate, for example, I thought some of her discussions was fantastic. Linda brought the educational side into what we were discussing. And Alan, for example, spoke about the disruptions that we have within family offices. Earlier on, you touched on the dispute resolutions. Karen was there. Karen is actually one of our subscription members. So Karen, for example, her feedback to me is I've opened up so many new doors for her and so many new ways of looking at things that it's worth it for her to actually take 2.5 days out of a busy practice to come and join a summit like what we've done here.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and meet with me and discuss this International Family Office Summit. Is there anything else that you'd like to leave behind with us?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. From our perspective, we're here to build, and we will do what we need to do to build. Even, from like I said to you, a week before the event, I actually called everyone in and said we're going to cancel it. But because of the reputational damage, if you say you're going to do something, you need to make it happen. And I decided, you know what, it's a bit of a lonely road that you sometimes have to travel when you start your own business. But it's also important because for us advising our clients, we need to be able to say we've also taken some sort of a journey. We're not always in a comfort zone. We're stepping out of it. We also challenge ourselves intellectually, socially, and whatever challenges we face. But we are here to overcome it, and we are here to show the next generation that they can actually achieve great things by working with everyone within the family office framework. You cannot be in the family office environment and think you're going to do it on your own. It's very complex. So you need to stay humble. Yeah, stay humble, build your tribe and work hard. I mean, there's no medal at the end of the day.
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us this morning.